Transmission job, step 1, disconnect and isolate the negative battery cable. So remove the little 10mm nut, and then when the cable's loose, lift the cable up and push it in back behind the battery to keep it out of the way so it doesn't accidentally touch. Next thing you need to do is raise and support your vehicle on a suitable hoist. Get the vehicle up in the air to work on it. Once it's in the air, you should mark the drive shaft. We mark the drive shaft so we don't throw the balance off when we reassemble it. 11mm to remove these bolts right here. Alright, that should be good. You can break that off. Right, excellent. Wrapping your U-joint with tape will keep all these little needle bearings from falling out. Just hold it up and support the front and back, both sides. So support this side too so it doesn't bang so bad. And we just go ahead, wiggle it, and yep. There you go. Okay, let's drain the bucket. Alright, you can pull her down. Now just carefully though. That thing costs like too much money. And if it gets a ding in it, it's no good anymore. Alright, so just, yeah, no, let's put it right down on the ground. Pulling the 2 starter bolts to get the starter out. Crank bolt, we can turn the engine to get to the flywheel bolts by turning this with our breaker bar. Now that the starter is out of the way, we can take our 24mm socket on the crankshaft and we can turn the crankshaft till we can get to the starter bolts to unbolt the bolts. Now taking these torque converter bolts out, I use an extension through the starter hole and a 15mm socket, just like this. Be careful not to break the sensors right there. This is the second big torque converter bolt hole. Okay, you see it's big. This is the third and last torque converter bolt getting loosened up. Unbolt that little wire there. And we're going to undo the electrical connector there. And we're going to undo any clips up here. We are going to unbolt this right here, and then we'll pull these lines right here, and then we'll pull this cross member while supporting the transmission, and fluid will spill out, and we'll go from there. Support the transmission with the transmission jack. Unbolt the 3 exhaust nuts, 15mm on both sides. Unplug the O2 sensors. Unplug the 3 on this side of the exhaust and unplug the O2 sensors. Unbolt the clamp right here, and then when you drop the cross member, you go right ahead and pull the exhaust out. We remove this exhaust clamp bolt on the back. I'm going to remove these nuts right here on the cross member. 21mm or 13/16. We remove this 15mm nut on the transmission cross member. Remove the cross member bolts with the transmission supported. Remove the cross member. With the cross member out, you should be able to take this Y pipe and pull it out of here with 2 hands. Your Y pipe comes down. Be careful not to lose the donuts and gaskets. You're going to want to reuse those or replace those. Move these 2 10mm on the heat shield here. Take the shield bolts off. Your truck is like mine, you don't need any tools because they're finger tight. Squeeze here like this, get that off. Don't forget to undo your transmission line from the side of your transmission. You might need to put a bucket under it when you pull it off so the fluid gets caught. Okay, got my bucket under there. Going in the bucket, well, on the jack, but you know, it's supposed to go in the bucket. You get to these two bottom transmission bolts very easy with an extension and deep socket. And then those two bolts there on both sides, I take those out last. Get the top ones out, then those out last. That way they support the transmission. Pick up the dipstick right there. Pull the bolt off, 13 millimeter. Then we can lift the transmission dipstick up. It's loose now, so we don't have to worry about that when we pull the transmission out. You got a long ratchet like this, and you get these sockets from all the way back here. Once you have all the last bell housing bolts out, you should be able to just wiggle the transmission, and it should just separate nice and easy from the bell housing. Once it's all loose, then you just take it and you pull it down and you lower it down from the transmission, making sure there's no wires or anything caught. The transmission is lowered down from the back of the engine. Now when you look at the flywheel, or the flex plate if you want to call it, on the back of the transmission, this is like a little tech tip. You'll see we got round hole, right, oval hole. Okay, see how it's flat sides? These have round sides. When you go to bolt your torque converter back up, you take this bolt, you put this one in first and you torque it down, and then you can put all the others in with no technical difficulties.